Okay, hello. Hello. Hello, beautiful people who are watching this. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. And thank you for wanting to step into your role as a creator, because we are. That's just the truth. And not all of us were actually taught how to go about doing that. A lot of us were taught how to toe the line, right? How to listen to rules, how to regurgitate information, how to learn and recite and be a good girl or a good person and basically do what was expected of us. But doing what's expected of us and trying to live in a way where you're looking outside of yourself to see what the expectations are and then trying to match those is a very limited way to live. And trying to do that keeps us really small. It keeps us kind of in a bit of a victim mentality where we aren't really owning our own power and we aren't really coming out in a way that's really honoring our purpose and our gifts if we're always sort of looking outside ourselves for that recognition. And so, yeah, I know a lot of people now are talking about that, right? Like about how we are creators and that we're creating our own worlds and our own lives and our own destinies and that we're co-creators with the universe. And a lot of us were not taught what that looks like, right? And even if we may start to understand those concepts, especially like with the law of attraction and understand that everything is energy, everything is vibration, and therefore we're going to resonate and match up with things that are of a similar vibration, which will then become our physical experience as well. A lot of us weren't taught how to do that. And it's become one of my favorite things. I've always had a natural gift, I guess, for manifesting. And over the years, especially the last few years, I've spent a lot of time really tweaking that process. And I've been able to do it for amounts of money, for things, for lifestyle, really for my dreams. And the more I've co-created my dreams, the more I've recognized how possible that really is. And not only how possible it is, but that's literally what we're doing all the time, whether we're conscious of it or not. So what I really want to do is help you have the skills and the tools that you need so that you can actually manifest your dreams and a life that really resonates with you and your soul. Because the truth is we're all different and there is no cookie cutter right way to do life. There's no manual, even though we may have thought that there was. We haven't been taught really how to thrive. And as a society, we've learned maybe how to survive, but not how to thrive. And it's time for us to thrive because that really is our birthright. And I am super passionate about living my purpose and expressing my soul and my soul gifts and doing so in a way that's helpful for others as well. I know that looking at mentors and teachers and other people who had walked this path as I was learning was really, really helpful for me. And those little pieces that I needed really came together, and then I was able to really understand which pieces were working and which pieces weren't working. And I just want it to work for you. You don't have to do all that, hopefully. And so what I really want to talk about is getting into flow. What is flow? What is flow? What does that mean? What does it mean to be in flow, to live in flow? To me, my understanding of that and what that means for me is when I am living my life in a way that I am in joy, that I am in my heart, that I am connected with my higher self, that I can feel the difference in my vibration, whether I'm remaining at a higher frequency or whether something's, fucking with that. And then I know what to do about it as well. And so I want you to be able to do that. so that you can create your dream life. And how do you create, right? Like a lot of us, I think, have these kind of creative blocks, and we've again looked outside ourselves to understand what creation is and what it looks like. And I really want us to switch that point of view, so that we look inside of ourselves, because that's really where true creativity comes from, is from deep within. And it's not just from us, right? It's from the universe, it's from the collective consciousness, it's from the energies that are in the collective vortex that are wanting to be brought forward and birthed, and we are the vessels for that. And so when we can actually connect to our divine source and bring through whatever it is that we really are meant to bring through in our own way, in our own frequency, in our own words, the people that need to hear those messages are going to find us, and they're just going to relate. They're going to hear the truth, and they're going to be like, oh my God, yes, I so get that. And tell me more. And I think right now what's happening is we're really growing. And as a society, we've really been challenged with the truth. We're doing shadow work on a societal level. So it's no longer just about my thing or your thing. It's about really looking at what actually we have created collectively and what that looks like. And looking at the truth can be really painful. I mean, some of the things we've seen, especially in the last few weeks, have been, well, devastating, really. Yeah. And I think it's important that we see and feel that, so that we can really, really ascertain what our values are and how we want to move forward. And like anything else that we're creating, we can't create something different going about it exactly the same way. And so our thoughts need to change. Our actions need to change. Where we're coming from needs to change. And we need to understand how to regulate our own energy, and that understand the power of our own energy, so that we understand what we're putting out there into the world, and also can be more responsible for what comes back to us and what we're creating. And I know there's been some absolutely beautiful collective meditations and envisioning for the new world. And, you know, I don't think any of us know exactly what that's going to look like or have a perfect picture of what that's going to be. However, we can sit in this time, we can tune into our hearts, we can think about those dreams, those little seeds of dreams and hopes that maybe we had when we were a kid. You know, the things that just seemed like common sense before we got jaded to what was in our outer world, and start to really believe in that again. Because it is that belief that actually can change things. Because we can't change anything we don't believe is possible. So our work, individually and collectively, is to do our work, to look at our shadows, to see what's really there and what's coming up, and then really like search our hearts and our values and think about, what do we actually want? How do we want to relate to ourselves and one another? How do we want to be as we move through society? How do we want things to look? How do we want to treat each other? How do we want systems set up? And up until now, it's been a very patriarchal, been a very hierarchical system, which we're seeing, I think, in new ways right now. It's become just so clear. And those are things we need to change if we're going to create a new reality, because doing things in the exact same way isn't going to yield something different. You know, that was something I remember Dr. Phil saying like so long ago. I think I was like 23 or 24, and in a not a healthy relationship, a very trauma bonded relationship, I would say now looking back. And I remember Dr. Phil saying, you can't, what did he say? Oh my God, I'm blanking. What did he say? Can't change what you don't acknowledge? No, that's not it. Oh yeah, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Yeah. So we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect it to turn out differently, is basically the point of that. And yeah, I think a lot of us have taken this time, or we've had a lot more time for reflection and self-reflection, to really look at our values and what we really want to see out in the world. And I think if we can take responsibility and understand that whatever we see in our outer world is a reflection of whatever's going on in our inner world, then we're able to really take that work seriously and be willing to do the work on ourselves, because you can't see love outside of yourself if you're not able to hold the vibration of love within. Yeah, if you can't love yourself, you're not really going to love what you see outside of yourself, right? And that's hard. In the beginning, that can be really hard. I know when I first sort of was introduced to that concept of self-love, and unconditional love and what that actually was, I didn't know how to have that. I didn't know how to have that for myself, and I didn't know how to have that for other people. And it's taken more than a decade to even begin to learn what that actually is, what unconditional love means to me, and how to have that for myself. But I think it's absolutely imperative that we understand at this point that we cannot see something outside of ourselves that we can't create within. And what I mean by that is, if you want more love, you need to be able to create that within yourself, and then you will see it reflected in your world. If you want more money, you need to be able to create that flow and that belief within yourself, and then you will see that reflected in your world. If you want more freedom, you need to create that for yourself. You need to claim that for yourself, and then you will see it reflected in your world. And I see still, and this is something that I felt a lot in the environmental movement, and also in some of my relationships, and what I see echoed in society with this hierarchical structure is it is a structure of abuse, and essentially it's created by one person having more power than others, and by us feeling like there's someone in between us and, say, the divine, someone that we need to listen to, be good to, make happy, before we're sort of allowed to have the things that we really want to have. And that is it's just not true. That's leftover thinking from when we were children. And that's part of this human experience, because when we're little kids, we don't have control over our world. We don't have control over the world outside of ourselves in the same way. And we're very vulnerable, and we do rely on our caregivers and the people around us, and we're like little concrete sponges, and our brains absorb everything that we're hearing and seeing and learning as truth. And we don't have a way to analyze it or think about it differently at that point. And so all of that stuff comes into us and becomes real, becomes law, becomes the way things are, becomes our belief system. And then we live from that place. And because we have a subconscious mind and a conscious mind, and there's so much going on, we have this great gift that our subconscious will actually take over a lot of that work. So we don't have to consciously be thinking about things all the time, because that would be a nightmare. Like, imagine if every time you wanted to take a step or swallow or something, you actually had to think through that whole process. Like, okay, now I need to lift this leg and then move it forward, and then I'm going to put it down, and while I put it down, I need to shift my equilibrium and I'm gonna raise this like slightly as I'm moving, like that would be a nightmare, right? So a lot of those things happen and we go in automatic. And automatic subconscious programming is awesome if it works for us. When it's working against us though, it's not the best. And you know, I used to bring a lot of judgment to myself here and really like be hard on myself for some of the things that I believed, especially when I was trying to really change my thinking from honestly, I hate myself to I love myself. And that was a process, and it takes time to root out those old beliefs and those hurts and those traumas. It takes time to heal. It takes time to sit with yourself and honor yourself. It takes time to be open enough and trusting enough and connected enough to even allow those memories and those stories to come to the surface so that they can be healed, because they can be so painful. And that is one of the other things that we're programmed as humans, is to avoid pain. And so if something's super, super painful, it's natural for us to want to push that away and either distract ourselves or even, our brain to literally push that away. And, obviously under extreme circumstances, we can see this manifest in certain mood or personality disorders. I don't even want to say disorders, but coping mechanisms like multiple personalities or something like that, where it's like a very extreme version of this. However, this is what we're doing all of the time. We go through life and we have these places where we get hurt, we have these traumas, we have these things that happen to us, and those little parts of ourselves we exile, I think is a good way to put it. Sometimes they're frozen in time, sometimes we push them out. I know years ago, I remember a counselor who I was working with asking me, he's like, where is that little girl? Where is that little girl who's crying right now, who can't stop crying? Where is she? And, she, in my being, she was locked, like in the closet with the key in the dark. So it was like, she was really like, yeah, no, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to feel that. I'm just going to lock that away and pretend it's not there. But all of those places are sort of draining our energy. They're sucking our energy, and they're leaking our energy. And all of those places and parts of ourselves are parts of ourselves that we have disregarded. And this is sometimes, often what's referred to as our shadow selves, right? It's these parts that we don't want to look at, or sometimes we're not even aware of. Some of these parts can come from past lives. Right now we're being asked to do a lot of ancestral healing, a lot of past lifetime healing. So a lot of these things, some of them are even drilled into our subconscious, and like we really haven't necessarily had experiences in our conscious life that have actually reminded us or brought up these things for us. However, we need to go into these places, and we need to find these parts of ourselves, and we need to bring these parts back into the light of our heart. And it's only then when we heal all of these parts of ourselves and bring all these parts back into our heart, into the light, that we're then able to live lightly. We're able to be in more joy. And we're able to know ourselves and express ourselves and our purpose in a deeper way. And that's really what I want for everyone. I want everybody to live their dream life. That's my goal. My goal is for all of you to remember that you are freaking amazing creators, and that literally your dreams are there for a reason. Your dreams are there because those are little seeds that have planted in you, deep in your subconscious, to remember why you're here and to remember what you're doing here at this time. And all of those things are there for a reason. And some of them may seem impossible or so far away, but they're not. They're there for a reason, and they're there because that is a part of who you are. And we all have different ones. We all have different dreams, and we all have different keys. And a lot of us have been sold certain dreams, as a collective. It's this idea that, we all need to become rich and powerful, and we want to be the ones moving to the top of that hierarchy, who's in control, who can then, control everything and have all the money and all the power. But even those people that have gotten to those places find that that is not a substitute for connecting fully to yourself. That's really what we're all looking for. We're all looking for that sense of connection that we lost when we came back into this earth world and decided, we wanted to make a go of things again, help the planet, whatever we're doing here. Most of us, I think, are helping to ascend humanity here. Try and wake us all up, right, to our own power. And that is part of this too. It's like we're using such a tiny amount of our power, and even just the little bits of power that I've taken back for myself have changed my life. Have given me some of the dreams that I had. Freedom, time to do the things that I want to do, people in my life that see me and understand me, and my tribe. And all of these things are happening more and more and more as I'm more and more able to essentially heal and take away the barriers that I had put there to being fully seen and to loving myself and to fully being loved and loving others. And collectively, we're really struggling with this belief right now of scarcity. And, we've been programmed to believe that there's a finite amount, that there isn't enough for everyone, that we need to be competitive. And I know I struggle with this. This is something that's really drilled into me. But it's not the truth. And there's a bigger truth. And the bigger truth is that we are literally creating. And therefore, as we're the creators and as we're constantly the ones creating, there is no lack. There is no lack of abundance because we're constantly creating it. And this abundance is just us. It's not even, I don't even want to say it's our birthright, because it is us. This universal abundant energy that's constantly creating and expanding and evolving. That is who we are. We are connected to that all of the time. And the only thing that gets in our way as to how much we allow ourselves to create is our own beliefs. Is our beliefs about lack? Is our beliefs of scarcity? Is our beliefs about how things are? And it's not true. So I want to help you break through. I want to help you move into your dream life. I want to help you make all of your dreams come true, because they are there for a reason. And the more of us that free ourselves, and the more of us that are able to step into our dreams and do our purpose, the more we're going to start seeing, I believe, we're going to start seeing that collectively alter what we're seeing in our 3D reality. Because it's like, as each one of us gets into harmony with ourselves, it's like we're that beautiful chord then. We're no longer like out of sync, we're not off key, like we're playing our beautiful soul song. And as each one of us plays our beautiful soul song, the harmony and resonance of this song that's being created by the universe is, I believe, going to take our breath away. It's stunning, it's beautiful, it's amazing. And we are amazing. We are amazing light being, creative beings who can have everything that we desire. And also who need to start looking at what actually we desire. What are our true values, okay? So not just what you've been sold, like it's not just about, and maybe it is for you, about getting, that Louis Vuitton purse or, a designer dress, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's different for everyone. Everybody's idea of prosperity and abundance looks a little bit different. And if we can all really tune into what it is for ourselves, then we can create that. And the more abundance we see created in the world, the better. And the more of you that become abundant and have money and who are naturally caring people, the better the world is going to be. And so that is also part of the reason I'm so passionate about this, because I don't want to say good people to have money, but I do. I do. I want good people to have money. And I know for a fact that money is an energy, and just like any other energy, if you get in alignment with it, it flows. And if you are blocking it for some reason, it doesn't flow as well. And that's basically it with money or anything else that you may want to attract into your life. So that was pretty convoluted and all over the place, and probably just a practice run. And if not, and I decide to post this anyway, then yeah, I'm sure whoever needed to hear some of this will get what they need to hear. And I love it. I love talking about this. I love talking about evolution and manifesting and our power and joy and celebrating life and all of the abundance and magic that is life. And I want all of you to be able to not just live, not just survive, but thrive, and more than thrive, to live in the magic that is life, because it is magic. And if you can get into the flow where you are living life, enjoying yourself, connected to your heart, and in flow, it's a really wonderful feeling. And I know what it feels like to be cut off from that. I know what it feels like to feel hopeless and helpless. I know what it feels like to be a victim. I know what it feels like to want to die. I know what it feels like to hate yourself. And yeah, we're done with that, guys. We don't need to do that anymore. So let's move into a new paradigm. Let's create something better, something that works for everyone. Let's create something more, something love-based, something beautiful. And I know we can do it, okay? All we have to do is put our hearts together. And I'm going to be creating some beautiful meditations to help people get into those higher frequencies, because I know I found for myself that it's one thing to understand it, and it's another to actually feel it. And I know for myself, especially with the vibration of love, or that feeling of unconditional love, it wasn't until I actually experienced that vibration and that feeling that made it that much easier to get back to that feeling and resonate with that again. So I think it's really important that we have these keys of resonance implanted within us so that we are able to scale to it, just like you would with an instrument. We're kind of like a giant instrument, and we are based in frequency as well. So if you think of like a guitar or a piano, and you think about tuning that, and if you know how to play guitar, you know, you're gonna pluck a string and you're gonna know when it sounds really off key. And if something is really out of tune, you're gonna hear that. And it's by practicing hearing that, and then hearing the tone you want it to be, and hearing the tone of where it is, and hearing the tone of where you want it to be, that you're able to actually tweak and scale back into the sound and frequency that you actually want. And so basically, that's my jam. I feel frequency really, really well. I'm a vibrational empath, you could say. And so I can tell where things are off, where things are blocked within myself and within others. And what I want to do is create some meditations, some courses, some resources, and some tools, so that whenever you feel like your frequency is a little off or a little out, or you want to learn how to get into the higher gifts and higher frequencies of your natural gifts, that you'll have some tools to be able to do that. So I'm also going to be bringing some meditations out that'll help with that, and potentially some courses that will help with that. I'm really inspired to do a dream booking course, which helps people to get out of their minds and into that space of creative flow, because it's by learning how to get out of our heads and out of our conditioning and into that space of creative flow, that the flow actually really starts happening, and that we start learning what that feels like. And once we learn what that feels like, then we know when we're not in that and when we're a little bit off, right? So it's like, there's several parts. Anyways, I love you guys, and I'm super excited to share all this with you because it really brings so much joy to my heart and my life, seeing people break through old beliefs and old boundaries that they thought were real, and understanding there's a bigger truth and being able to evolve and step into more, because whatever you grew up with, whatever you believe you're stuck with, or that life is just the way it is, or whatever, it's not. That's bullshit. That's just your conditioning, and you can change that. And I'm not going to say it doesn't require some effort, some tears, some rage, some support. And it's an ongoing process, and it's doable, and I would love to support you through it. So like I said, I'm going to be coming up with some meditations, some courses, and potentially opening up a few spots for one-on-one as well, one-on-one coaching through this, if that feels really like something that resonates for you, because I really do love being able to go deep with people and see people shift and change through this work. And I think sometimes just hearing the concepts and just being able to understand all of that, you'll get the pieces that you need, and you can apply it to your life and make huge changes. And I know for myself, some of the times where I was really focusing on up-leveling or changing my frequency or vibration around a specific topic, especially one that was really rooted in trauma, which many of them are when we have limiting beliefs and fears and those feelings, is because of, again, like I said, those places that are traumatized, those places that are hurt, those places that may have been split off from us. Bringing those into the light and back into your heart can be a painful process, and it can be challenging, and some of you want to do it faster than others. And I know myself, it's been really beneficial to be able to have a mentor and to be able to hire a coach during some of those periods where I really wanted to take the time and really make some big strides in transformation. And sometimes having that person be there who's been through that process and is on the other side of it can really hold the light and see where you're at in that process and remind you of that, as well as see where you may need to tweak something, which is why I'm feeling called to potentially offer some one-on-one coaching as well, because I know for myself, the one-on-one coaching that I have utilized and hired coaches at different times has really been one of the things that I feel like has helped me break through my own patterns the fastest, and in really deep ways. So I want to be able to offer that to you guys as well. And in the meantime, I just want to say, follow your dreams, because they are there for a reason, and you can do it, and it's super exciting, and we are creating a new world. We're in the middle of creating a new world right now, and I think we're going to create one that is based on humanity, where all humans are treated with love, and that the society and the structures that we do have in place benefit all of us, instead of being set up to, control and punish. That shit's ending. And it's scary. It's scary when things end. I mean, honestly, I'm excited about it in some ways, because I've been so confused since I was little at the way things were and why they're set up that way. And it encourages me to see more and more people talking about compassion and talking about what's really going on and talking about the changes that they want to see and taking action on those things. And there's still more changes to come. And I think the best thing that we can do is to learn how to center ourselves, to be in our hearts, to connect to our divinity, to listen to our intuition, and to honor that. To honor what's inside and what's connected more than anything else. And I think that's how we're going to get through this. So, I love you all. Thank you for watching, and more videos coming soon. Lots of love.